Welcome to As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. Today we welcome Candlemass vocalist Johan Längqvist to the podcast. The new Candlemass EP, Black Star, is out today on Napalm Records. Johan talks about his involvement in the debut Candlemass record, being a pioneer of the doom metal genre, rejoining the band after a 30-plus year layoff, celebrating 40 years as a band, what the future holds, and more. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of As the Story Grows. If you're brand new to the podcast, welcome. Thanks for checking us out. You can find links in the show notes or at asthestorygrows.com to join our Discord community, our mailing list, and our Patreon page where you can get early access to every episode for $1 a month. And make sure you never miss an episode of the podcast by subscribing to the podcast on your podcast platform of choice. Enjoy today's conversation with Johan from Candlemass. I know you were not in the band for a long time, but is it crazy to be like celebrating 40 years of Candlemass?
Yes, it is. Of course. But, you know, the guy's been going on for such a long time. So they are worth it, I can tell. And I've got a small part of the band's history as well.
Yeah.
At least almost 7 years now lately. So
yeah. When you were growing up, like, and I think as you're a teenager, I mean, if you can remember back, like, what were your like musical memories and the things that like got you into music and initially made you want to be in a band?
The very first time I think I heard Mud and T-Rex when I could be 8-9 years old, and then I found a couple of punk rock bands in Sweden, and then when a friend of mine bought Sad Wings of Destiny with Judas Priest, then the thoughts of doing this in the future were growing, and a couple of years later then we had a band, me and a couple of friends.
That's awesome. Were you always singing? Did you try your hand at another instrument, or were you just like...
Yeah, actually it was just a coincidence that I started to do the vocals, because, you know, no one wanted to do it. And when I don't remember exactly, but it's something like that. I came couple of minutes late when we were supposed to decide those things, and the drums and the bass and the guitars, they were already, they took those instruments, and all that was left was vocals. And we were actually in the very beginning, there was another guy. So we were singing two guys in the very beginning when we were about, 14, 15 years old. But then the other guy started to play the drums.
Yeah. How'd you and Leaf meet, and what was the initial formation of Candlemass?
How we met in the beginning? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was actually a guy, the drummer, Mats, he lived here in... the same suburb where I lived, and I guess that he heard something about me, because we were playing around in the local area in the suburbs. So I think he just suggested me as a singer when they were about to have this contract, and they called me up and asked me if I was interested in making an album with them, and of course start being a member in the band. But it was exactly at the same time when, you know, we were pretty successful, me and my own band, at that point. So I told them, that would be great to do an album, because to make an album back in the 80s was a very huge thing.
Yeah.
It's not today. It's not. You can almost make your own album these days, but back in the 80s, it was just a dream. I was honest and told them that, my heart is for the moment with my own band.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about it, and they said to me in the end that, well, we want you to do the album anyway. And that's the way how Epicus came out.
Because you were kind of coming in as the singer, like, did you have any say or input into the sound and direction? I mean, like, doom metal isn't a thing back in the 80s, right?
I can tell that doom, I had never heard anything like that before. Yeah. So it was pretty different from the more traditional metal and hard rock. So, but I saw, as a singer, is slow and heavy. You could, we always try to copy our heroes when we're young, and that's the way it starts. And I saw there was a chance to, do some cool vocals in that kind of music. You get a lot of space.
Mm-hmm.
So, but during the recordings, they pretty much had the songs were already made when I got there, and of course, I don't remember every single moment from the. I think I was there for 2 days, 2 nights, or something like that. So it was pretty fast recording sessions.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of it took a lot of money to be in the studio back in the 80s. So no, I just he told me sing something like that, and I just did it, and try to sound what do you say, natural, that this is the place I am at in one way.
Yeah.
But it was very, some people were even laughing listening to the songs in the beginning. I don't know about that, but the other guys, they told me that people were, wow, this music ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
But a couple of years later, they realized that they were wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that on one hand you had the thrash bands and the death metal bands trying to get faster and heavier, and it's like the doom was just like, how slow can we get, right?
Yeah. And it's actually not that easy to play that slow.
Right.
It's hard, I can tell.
Yeah.
Not for me, but for the musicians.
Yeah. I wrote a riff the other day, and it was like, I could play it slow, but I was like, I'm just going to speed it up.
Yeah.
After 32 years in 2018, you rejoined the band. What was the conversation like? And I mean, did it take a lot of convincing? I mean, that's a long layoff.
No, actually not. I've been into music in one way or another all of my life. So when Mappe called me up, it was actually perfect timing in my life. I have a big family, 4 kids, and they all have moved out. So I told Mappe that, but I have to listen to the songs first. For what you're doing these days, and I went to the studio actually the very next day and listened to some of the Doors to Doom songs, and I just told them right away that cool, I'm in, and then we pretty much actually started the recording right away.
Yeah.
So it was a fast entrance.
Yeah. I know Leif does so much of the songwriting. As a vocalist, would you prefer to write your own lyrics, or do you kind of enjoy the process of just being able to come in and have like melodies and words already written out?
Yeah, you know what? It's of course nice to just arrive and the songs are made and the lyrics are made, and you can just focus on the song, of course. And Leif, he writes good music and writes good lyrics, so it's not a problem for me at all. You know,
Yeah.
I can write my own songs at home, so it's okay for me.
Yeah.
and Leif is the main writer of the band, and he's always been so. He's the the roots of Candlemass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm not sure that I could make a Candlemass song as good as he's doing it.
Sweet Evil Son comes out 2022. I know after the record before that, you know, they said it would probably be 22, 23 before another Candlemass record. But was that impacted at all by the pandemic and writing and recording, or because things are so much easier and you can kind of do it in home, was it just like, I don't know, not hindered?
Yeah, we have it you know, when everything was closed and you couldn't go out there and do the shows, we did a couple of live streaming things. But that's of course not the same thing. Yeah. But you know, I'm the Leif is calling me up whenever he's got a couple of songs and asks me if I can come over and make a demo with him. So that's the way how we create the songs. And then when I've demoed a couple of songs, he thinking about it, is this okay, and should we change something or not? And then he finds out in the very end that the song is done, and then he calls in the other musicians and put the rest on, and then maybe if I could change something, I go back again and change something in the vocals. But that's the way how we're working. So Leif is doing the songs on his own, and then he shows it to us.
Nice. New EP is called Black Star. There are 2 original songs and 2 covers, a Sabbath cover and a Pentagram cover. Whose idea was it to do the cover songs, and what led to an EP? Was it just like, we want to do something to celebrate the 40th, and this is a way to get new music out?
I think to celebrate the anniversary is one of the reasons, of course, to have something at least when there's a 40 years anniversary. But, you know, Leif is an old Black Sabbath fan, and we do love Black Sabbath as well. Yeah. And it was a cool thing to do that one. And he's also, he loves all the old hard rock, heavy metal bands from the 70s and the 80s. So he asked us if we were okay with doing those songs, and we said yes, no problem at all.
Nice. Who did the album artwork?
Actually, I'm not that involved in much more than doing the vocals and performing. So I don't know the name of the guy, actually.
All right.
It's shame on me. Sorry for that. But, you know, I'm actually the same type in my life, you know. Of course, maybe I've met the guy a couple of times, but you meet a lot of people, and
Yeah.
I just keep the people that are close around me in my head.
Yeah. The band has a handful of tour dates this summer and this fall. Do you feel, as a band that's been around forever, do you feel less pressure either to get out on the road and tour or to make music? And is it become a thing that it's just for fun since, the music industry
actually now we haven't done anything for a couple of months, and you start to, I want to do it again. So that's the way it is, at least for me. You never know when you begin in a band when you haven't been out there playing that much before, because I have been out with other stuff, but not on the big stages like we are with Candlemass. But I really enjoy every second of it. So I still love it a lot, and we're having a great time together. So I hope this can continue a couple of years more.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of my next question. That 40 years, I mean, like, do you ever have there been conversations of like slowing down what the end might look like, or is it just like in the moment?
Leif has got minor health issues, so we have to be careful with Leif, and he can't do heavy touring. So I think that's the reason why we're not being out on the road for a month or a lot of weeks. So we just go away and have a couple of gigs, and then we're back home again. So that's the main reason. And of course, you have to be fair and realize that we're 62 this year, so we have to be careful. But but I really enjoy it, and you never know when you're 62. Everything can happen.
Yeah.
So every minute I enjoy every single show wherever it is. Yeah.
It's cool to be able to do it, and like I'm sure fans appreciate, like, even if you don't play a lot of shows, it's like a new record shows up. It's like just grateful to have it as long as you can, right?
Yeah, for sure.